And our final question before we do the Q&A has to do with the future of cinema. So if you could maybe look maybe 5 years down the line, what trends are you seeing in the industry and also in film education? How do you think things will be changing in the coming years? And what can the students possibly look forward to? We can start with you guys.
You know, I don't say this just because I work in the school. Actually, I used to run an MBA program up in the North Bay, so I'm not really a film guy. But what I do see is that this field is bigger and growing faster than any of the markets out there. Just look at your TV. How many channels are now on your TV? There has to be content developed for all those TV stations. Your little mobile devices, somebody's got to create those apps, those visuals, the movies that are going to be on those mobile devices. That's just going to keep growing. We live with these things. Somebody has to develop the content for that. We are moving more digital. You know, the art form of filmmaking is always going to be there, but the digital technology is moving so quick that we can't keep up with it. One of the things we offered, which I didn't get in to talk about, is we have an Institute of Multimedia Literacy, which is just about digital media and how to use digital media, how to create it. And a lot of our students will do that honors program with another major. You know, so those short format films you're seeing on the film, they're developing apps. They're learning how to use visual media to communicate differently, and that's where we're moving. I hate to say that we're not going to read in the future, but so much of us are driven by the visual image that this is the place to be. But what I think you need to do is be open to not being the stereotypical director, producer, editor, writer. You have to be thinking ahead and maybe not try to define yourself so precisely into those categories and be open to what is there. So I think it's a good time. Okay.
For me, what I've been noticing is that there's just so much work out there. You know, so many YouTube videos, so many Vimeo channels, and it's really democratizing the filmmaking form, which means that really small films that you make can really get a big audience. Yep. And I think that's really exciting. You know, that means that even if you don't have a lot of money, if you tell a really great story, or if you do a documentary about a really interesting subject or person, people can see it, and you can find traction as a filmmaker. So really, you know, it's not about money. You know, money is not the limiting factor in film. Talent is. So really, focusing on craft is going to be so important. I think in trying to stand out from so much of the other work. You know, if you're a filmmaker, you really need to, you know, understand and study film and make lots of film, and not be blinded by like the coolest gadget, because that's not going to, you know, help you stand out. Because if you have the coolest gadget, someone else is going to have it too. So, you know, studying film, I think, is really important now to really be able to, you know, show the world what you're made of, to be able to stand out and be seen.
I'm not sure how to answer this. I was allowed to say pass, so I was going to say pass. But I guess my main thing I'm going to say is if you do not get accepted to one of our film programs, that doesn't mean you can't be a filmmaker. Anyone can make films, right? Everyone is making films now and uploading their films on YouTube. I have tons of films of my two Shih Tzus on YouTube. So you can still be a filmmaker. Don't ever lose that passion. But I will say to all of you, because I'm so pro-education, please do get your higher degree, go to college and study something, and you will still be able to be a filmmaker.
Yeah, there's a distinction between getting a college degree and being an artist. So for every great filmmaker we can name who went to film school, we can name a Quentin Tarantino or Paul Thomas Anderson who bypassed it entirely. So those are two different things. But I really sincerely believe in the issue of craft. That is one reason to go to film school. With the democratization of technology It used to be you went to film school just to simply get your hands on a camera. That's not the case. Everybody's got, you can make, you know, movies with a smartphone now. So it's about learning the craft. That's a big issue. And in terms of jobs, I think what I'm seeing just in terms of student demand is a lot on post-production, which is really, we're talking about editing, audio, digital effects. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the credits of a film, and it's, you know, stick around and watch them all the way to the end, it's the majority of those credits are really in a lot of the post-production areas. I think the last Lord of the Rings movie, their credit sequence was more than 10 minutes long. Yeah. But that's what we're seeing a big demand for. We still teach actual film making with 16mm film in our introductory cinematography courses because we still believe that that's an experience that's very important for beginning filmmakers to pre-visualize without just looking at video assist and looking at a screen the whole time to see what it's going to look like. Film makes you actually look out there and work with your actors and pre-visualize and get your lighting right. You have to know what it's going to look like when that film gets developed. So that's a really important skill, and it's very important for discipline. I hope we can still be doing it, but maybe 5 years from now, it's becoming such a boutique industry, it's hard to say whether we're going to, you know, film is really going to be around. But obviously, it's in the digital areas that these things are still expanding.
Yeah, and I think, I guess it's kind of been mentioned a little bit, but I think for us and what our faculty have been talking about a lot is kind of the art of storytelling and what makes a good story. And I think with kind of all of these technologies and with anyone being able to put any film they've made online or wherever, we've kind of lost a little bit of what it means to create a good film and a good story and to be compelling and to not, you know, do something that's been done before a million times, like those good old skateboard and snowboarding videos. But I think it's again going back to, yeah, just really, you know, what is a story, and that you can't have a successful film without having a good story. That's what really drives it. So I think we've lost a little bit in trying to come back into really understanding what that means and what that is, and not losing that in the fact that it has kind of exploded as much as it has. I think is really important. Obviously, yeah, with the digital side, things like visual effects and animation and all those areas have really gotten really popular for students, and I think you're just seeing a lot more being done with that industry, and it's being a lot more mainstream. So I think that's definitely exciting. And also kind of that kind of international influence that's coming into films now too. You know, there's, especially in Asia right now, there's a big demand and a lot of films and things going on and cross-cultural productions being done, and so I think there's a lot to be kind of expanded into other areas of the world, and we've always been on the forefront of it, but being able to kind of incorporate, you know, those other areas, and that's something that's really expanding, and Hollywood's kind of looking into, you know, some other countries now and those, so I think that's another area we'll see develop as we go in the future, which I think is exciting and definitely going to change kind of what the industry looks like as well. So,
thank you.